Yo, welcome back, man. Matt's not in the house tonight. I'm going to be hosting. I got my boy Ian here with me.
Yo, what up, guys?
This is the Cruise Dynasty podcast. We're going to try to hit a mock draft up for everybody. Me and Ian's been hitting them left and right. But right before we start it, you know the deal. Follow us on Twitter at CrewMattHam, at CraftmanPackFan. And Ian, I don't think he's got a Twitter yet, but I'm sure you can find him on them streets.
I'm out in the streets. Try the red light district. If I'm not there, I'll be there in a little bit.
Mock drafted? You mock drafted on them streets? You just sit on the corner, say, "Hey, man,
Yeah, dude.
I'll sell you this mock draft for $50. Help you win your league."
I got this fantasy insight, man. Please.
I know you itching for it.
I'm ready. I can't wait.
All right. Well, you want to go ahead and get this thing underway?
Let's do it, dude.
All right. Well, I'm drafting from the 103. I haven't drafted here much. Usually been drafting at like the 109 is where I've been drafting most of my drafts, but we wanted to kind of mix it up a little bit. Ian's drafting at the 112. So let's get this thing rolling. First two guys off the board, Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase. So McCaffrey kind of just fell into my lap right here. Seems pretty easy pick. So I'm just gonna go with Christian McCaffrey right here.
Sounds good.
Is that easy enough? Easy enough for you? Do you think JJ should go at the 101 if you were drafting at the 101, or would you take McCaffrey?
I think I'd take Justin Jefferson right there because the difference between him and the next best receiver is way different than the Christian McCaffrey and the next running back. He gives you a little bit more of a curve on the upside there. So it's hard to not take JJ, especially in, half PPR.
Yeah. Well, you up right here after I picked McCaffrey. Kelsey went at 4. Then Tyreek, Eckler, Kupp, Saquon, Bijan, Diggs, A.J. Brown. And you're up.
All right, so
give me your process. Tell me what you're thinking right here.
All right, so when it comes down to this 12 pick in the back, I really want to start with a good receiver, but I like to get Stephon or AJ, and they just went at the 10 and 11. So, honestly, when that happens, I kind of like just going straight double running back because CeeDee Lamb, I'm not too crazy about Dak. Devontae Adams, love Devontae, but Jimmy G kind of gives me the creeps. And yeah, the other, it's, self-explanatory with everybody else. So I think we'll go back-to-back Nick Chubb and the king himself.
Derrick Henry. So I really like picking in the back in these drafts. I know a lot of people want to be in them first, like 2 or 3 picks, but I think I have a little bit. I like my teams a little more when I'm drafting at the 9 to 12 range because I don't really see that much difference between, Eckler that went at number 6 and Nick Chubb that went at number 12. And then you get to double up with Derrick Henry too. So, I mean, that's just my preference. I know everybody got their own, but I actually kind of like picking in the back this year.
Yeah, me too, man. You kind of get to see how the draft is going a little bit, and you feel like you get a better deal towards the back, if you end up getting somebody good, and it's kind of risky going at the front, but if it pans out, you get those are your league winners. So it's give and take, but yeah, I agree. It just kind of lets you strategize a little more.
Yeah, picking in the back is the way to go. I mean, it's great to have Justin Jefferson at the 101, and no, you got that safety, but we're a sucker for running back, so
Oh
being in the
yeah.
back, you can definitely load up on them. But right here, after you picked, Mahomes first quarterback went at the 2-2 to Team 11. That's too early, right? In your opinion?
I guess, man. It's too early for me. I know that. It's definitely too early for me. But some people that's their vibe, dude. And I don't know. Like we say all the time, dude. It's very rare where you see championship teams with Patrick Mahomes, and so
I mean, I do have one piece of advice for everybody out there. If you're the team that takes like Travis Kelce in the first round, and you're thinking to yourself, oh, maybe I can get Kelce at the 109, the 110, and then I can come back and get Mahomes and go ahead and have that stack. I mean, that's a decent thought process, but me
so hard to
personally,
pull it off.
yeah, me personally, I want to you got to start two running backs, two receivers, we start two flex spots, but
Yep.
most leagues start one. I'm not trying to go all in on just the positions where you only got to start one back to back like that, because it's just going to leave you. Uh, it's just you're not going to have much depth at running back. I mean, like
Yeah.
you took Chubb there in the first and Henry. If you were to go Travis Kelce, Patrick Mahomes, in the third round, your starting running back's your number one running back's probably gonna end up being like a Aaron Jones or something like that.
Yeah. Right. Right. Yeah. I mean, just going off of where my projected pick is, it's got it ranked down there, and this is coming into the third round, like with Kamara, Cook, Javante Williams, DeAndre Swift, Connor coming back. But that's if everybody picks running back, so that's not really accurate. Sorry, I shouldn't even brought that up. But yeah, you're right. Probably be more like Joe Mixon or Aaron Jones for your starting running back, which isn't terrible, but you really want one of those big ballers, if not two. It's
Yeah,
hard to come by bell cow backs.
for sure. And now you can pretty much go whatever direction you want now with your two running backs. Or if you would have took a receiver there in the second, but uh, in the first two rounds, take best player available. It's never a bad idea. Right
Right.
here, I'm looking. I got a couple running backs that I like. Ramondre's at the top. He's way down on my rankings, so I'm not going to touch him.
Yeah.
But, the running back that I want, I feel like will make it back. So I'm probably going to go Jalen Waddle right here.
That's a great pick.
And, yeah, Jalen
McCaffrey,
Waddle at the
McCaffrey Waddle.
210.
That's a good little stack.
Yep. And after I went Waddle, Najee went, Mark Andrews went in the last pick of the second round, and then Josh Allen. So the
Oh,
team one started with Jefferson, Andrews, Josh Allen. Best
wow.
receiver, best tight end, best quarterback, but we'll see what that depth ends up looking like here later on, passing on running backs for a little while. But when you get Jefferson, you can afford to, wait on receivers for a little while.
Yeah. Yeah, he'll carry you through a little while. That's for sure.
All right. Well, right here, McCaffrey, Waddle. T. Higgins is the next receiver on the list. I'm not picking him this early in the third. I like T. Higgins, but I want a player with a little more upside. And with Jamar Chase there, I think I'm going to pass on that one. The running backs didn't even get taken. Ramondre's still there, which I know Matt would probably pick right here.
You know
But,
it.
yeah. But there's a lot of running backs that I still like. And there's some receivers that I like also. But I got one guy in a tier above all of them. And I got a lot of running backs in the same. So I think I'm going to go Chris Olave right here.
Okay.
I
So
want a guy
what's
that
your
can.
strategy right there? Like why did you not go with a running back right there? What I'm not saying it's anything wrong with it. I just, wondering while I go through this and make my next pick.
Well, my main process, I still got a long wait till it comes back. But as far as ADP goes, and this is where you need to really know your league and see, but there's still about 6 running backs that I would like to take, and I can go back to back with them and them still be in the same tier that I have them ranked in. So we'll see if they make it back, see if it works.
Yeah, because that's a pretty good pocket. Like fourth, fifth round, like maybe more like fifth, sixth round. There's a pretty good little pocket of guys in there, like Dobbins, Akers, Madison, Connor, Kamara, people like that. But after that, it kind of really falls off. So if you miss that pocket, then yeah, good luck. But yeah, I mean that's a good little strategy because this year that it does seem to be a bit more of like the mid range running backs are a little bit better than they have been in the past.
Yeah, and I like
So
Jahmyr Gibbs too. Jahmyr Gibbs would have been my pick. I didn't want to take Brees Hall. There's no way I'm taking him that early with Dalvin Cook
right.
signing. Ramondre, you got Zeke there. So I actually like the running backs on further down ADP. I got Joe Mixon ranked higher than both of them guys. I got
Yeah.
Aaron Jones ranked higher, Miles Sanders ranked higher. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
thinking I got Alexander Madison ranked higher than Ramondre and Kenneth Walker. That might be crazy to some people, but I'm going to get the running backs that I want. I still think I'm going to get the running backs that I want in the 4th and 5th round.
All right, we'll see. So coming down to me at the 312, I started off double running back heavy with Chubb Henry. So right here, I'm thinking, I really want to grab a receiver right here. I don't really want to go that deep into the draft without having, a steady hand. And one of the steadiest hands in the whole league, the last uh let me see, let me get down here and count it up. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 years. This guy only missed 1,000 receiving yards twice, and one of those years he only missed it by 8 yards, and that's my boy Keenan Allen.
Yep,
With
love Keaton there right in the back of the 3rd, start of the 4th. About as steady
yep,
as you're going to get.
yep, it's a good little pick if you go running back heavy in the beginning, like I was saying. And then right here at the 4th, I've had a couple different strategies, and I'm gonna go with
Justin
the
Fields.
one Justin Fields. This the strategy that I feel like is the most value for that pick right there. And the only championship that I won, I drafted a quarterback in the 4th round that was a great rushing quarterback, as in Kyler Murray a couple years ago. I feel like Justin Fields is kind of in that same part of his career as Kyler was at
Oh
that
yeah,
time. So
that's a great
I think,
quarterback in the 4th, and Herbert went in the 4th too. So in this draft, through 3.5 rounds, there have been, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 quarterbacks already go. Me and Matt been talking, and Ian's been talking about it a lot. Then pockets for quarterbacks is the 4th round for us, which is the
mm,
Herbert, Justin Fields round, and I really like Lawrence in the 5th. So I like,
yeah,
and if I don't get them guys, if I can't get
right,
Herbert or Fields in the 4th, unless like Joe Burrow falls or something like that, or
of course.
or Lamar, that'd be great too in the 4th. But if you can't get one of them two guys in the 4th round, then and Lawrence in the 5th, then I'm kind of waiting on quarterbacks.
Waiting. So if you miss Lawrence in the 5th, are you cool taking like Tua in the 6th, or you don't really want to fuck with Tua?
Well, in these mock drafts, my rule is Tua in the 8th, and I can bet you $1,000,000 in a sleeper mock that Tua will fall to the 8th. But in your home leagues, You
Yeah.
know, you might try to. This is when you look at the teams around you, and
Yeah.
you play that game and say, "Hey, this guy got a quarterback. This guy got one already," and then you can kind of form an opinion on whether Tua will go or not. And I mean,
Right.
us here, this podcast, we love Tua, but shit, some people in your home leagues might love Dak. They might like Deshaun Watson, so Anthony Richardson, but I'm saying like Tua in the seventh if you really want to get ballsy. But if you really want them, you can go get them in the sixth.
Yeah, dude. I like Tua, especially if I end up snagging Tyreek in the first round. Like I'm drafting in the 8th pick in one of my leagues, and uh, I feel all giddy when I get Tyreek because I know I can go get that stack with Tua pretty easily. You know.
Yeah. Yep. I know exactly what you're saying. And you know, we talked about this a lot. Jalen Waddle and Tyreek are going in the first 2 rounds, so why get scared off of Tua? But I'm sitting here, 4th round. My running backs came back to me that I thought were going to make it. I didn't think Mixon was going to make it or Aaron Jones, but I got Miles Sanders right there in the same tier as them guys. Maybe just a little bit below, but I'll go ahead and tell you now, I'm going to take 2 running backs with these next 2 picks because after this, it's
Yeah.
a drop off. So
Big
right
deal.
here, I'm gonna go Miles Sanders. Calvin Ridley went after him. Hopkins, Damian Pierce, who I didn't want anyway. I know you did.
I do
And
like Damian Pierce this year.
J.K. Dobbins is back at practice. I moved him up in my rankings
Oh, really? Okay.
yesterday. Moved him all the way back up to 16, above
Oh, I
Alexander
just
Madison, above James Conner, above Brees Hall. So Brees Hall went in the 3rd round in this draft. I'm drafting J.K. Dobbins in the 5th.
yeah, that's a good pick, especially since he's healthy and removed from the injury for a good amount of time now. And we were both getting a little worried about it because I think more than you was higher on J.K. Diamonds. I was getting him like my RB2. Picking him in the 3rd, 4th round, which I think you did. Just no, you got him in the early 5th, which I feel like is a good, if not great place for him to be. And it's going to be an interesting offense there, but J.K. Dobbins definitely showed flashes of greatness, and it could be his year, man. You never fucking know. All right,
You know,
so go ahead.
no, I was just going to say that I think that when you're drafting, you need to know what platform you're playing into, like whether it's Yahoo, ESPN, or Sleeper. But some of these ADPs are gonna either like if you're drafting this weekend or next weekend, whenever it is, the ADPs are gonna fluctuate. Like Brees Hall is gonna go down, and Ramondre is
Yeah,
gonna go down. J.K. Dobbins is probably going to go up because he was, holding out. He wasn't in training camp for a while, but now he's back. It looks like he's ready to roll. 2 years removed from the ACL. He's on a contract year. You know, he's on a good offense. I mean,
yep,
he checks all the boxes for me to have a breakout year. And I was kind of down on him there for a little while with the contract thing, but now that he's back, I'm right back up wanting J.K. Dobbins, and I got him as my 3rd running back. So
yeah. No, that's a good little team you got set up there. And yeah, J.K. is he's like I said, he's shown his flashes of greatness. So this could be his breakout year. And like you said, I mean, he checks all of our boxes of you know reasons to excel. So all right, so back to the basics. So I'm at the 12th pick, and it's the 5th round. So Drake London, Kyle Pitts, and Alexander Madison just went, and we got Nick Chubb, Henry, Keenan, and Justin Fields so far. So right here, I think so. I got back-to-back picks, and oh yeah, this would be good. This would be good to talk about. So I'm gonna take Alvin Kamara right here, which in my eyes is one of the hugest values in this whole draft because he's only going to be out 3 games. I mean, it's yeah, it sucks, but there's 15 more, and you're getting one of the greatest running backs in the league. Way below his value. So I think Alvin Kamara right there is a good pick, and at the same time, it is a little sketchy. So
You need a receiver.
I need a receiver, but you know what? There are still a ton of receivers. Like I'd be happy with Pickens as a second, or even Addison. Brandon Cooks is still down there, ADP 95, and we're still up at 6'1". So when it comes to
So you're
receivers,
happy with Pickens as your 2?
oh for sure.
I mean, I like Pickens, but you know, I don't know. I don't know if I would be that comfortable having him as my 2.
Well, I mean, if we're just going off the hold on one second. If we're just going off the projected fantasy points that they have listed on here while you're doing a draft. So Brandon Ayuk, we'll use it as an example. His projected fantasy points are 177, and on down, George Pickens' projected points are 162. So that's a little more than 10-point difference. And in my eyes, like the players you get between that's like a whole round and a half, if not 2 rounds. Whereas getting your running backs here, which I don't necessarily need to do because I got 3 now, but I also have Kamara, who is a little sketchy. Um,
I know where
so
you're going here.
so I think I'm gonna, and you might not know where I'm going, but I think I want to go James Conner here.
That's what I was about to say. That you're going to go James Conner to
I
have as your
mean,
4th
yeah,
running back.
yeah, because I mean, like you said in the beginning, we got 2 flex spots, and I don't necessarily have to start 4 running backs every week, but you want the depth at running back, and why not get the good ones? If nothing else, you're taking them from everybody else. Yeah, I might be a little slack on receiver, but year in and year out, there are these rookie receivers or somebody breaks out that is totally undrafted is a lot more likely with receivers than with running backs. So I tend to like to get a good receiver and solidify my number one, but I only have to start one more. So if I draft 5 more receivers, then I only have to one of those only have to do good. You know what I mean?
As long as your running back stay healthy.
And they never do. That's why I like to get 4 good ones.
But I mean, looking back at last year, I mean, the top 24 receivers really seem like they were drafted pretty early. Like you don't really have any names that just jumped in there that you drafted. Like I'm looking at the top 24 receivers from last year, and I'm not seeing any names that you're going to be drafting like 6th round or later from last year's draft. I mean, maybe Devontae Smith, he jumped in there. He was probably a little later. Christian Kirk,
But where was
uh,
Devontae getting drafted last year?
Devontae. That's what I was saying. Devontae Smith was getting drafted later, probably around 7th round or so last year. But that's just one example. I'm talking about that's one out of
Yeah.
24 guys. I mean, maybe Tyler Lockett. You probably got him in the 6 or so. Christian Kirk, he was a
Yeah.
good one. But all the rest of them are big names. Your top guys. You got Jefferson, Hill, Adams, Diggs, CD, Amon Ra, AJ Brown, and Amari Cooper. Not sure where he was getting drafted at last year. Maybe he was one of them guys you're talking about. But I don't know. I felt like the ADP last year was pretty steady on these receivers where you drafted them last year. There's a couple guys that jumped in, but I don't think I would be expecting too much out of these late round guys to be a top 12, top 15 receiver.
Right. And That's not what I'm looking for when I'm looking at my wide receiver too. I'm looking for a guy that's just, going to give me a consistent 10, 12 points every week, That's fine with me. Um, if I got, I got Chubb, Henry, Kamara, Justin Fields, they're going to be my big point getters, and I just need to not score a goose egg, is essentially. I mean, when it comes to wide receiver too, yeah, you really want somebody that's going to get, like 10, 12 points. I mean, I want my number one guy to get me, like 15, 18. And if, I scored 10 or 12 with him, that's, 30 points from my receivers. And then
Yeah.
I'm, so
I mean,
it's
in
just,
half point, so you're talking about like you like Addison, you like George Pickens there,
yeah.
which I do too. I still like him as my third if I could, but to put it into perspective, you said you want like about 10 points or so out of your wide receiver two. Chris Olave last year was that rookie. He was, and Garrett Wilson also. Garrett
Mhm.
Wilson in half point averaged 10.2 a game, and Chris Olave averaged 10.8 points per game. So,
Yeah. And they were
and
going pretty low. They were going
but
pretty low in
Olave
the
was
draft.
wide receiver. That'll get you at the wide receiver 25. So that's technically not a
Yeah.
wide receiver two.
No, but it plays like it, And long as you um what's the word I'm looking for? Long as you do better at the other, long as your positional matchups at the other players can kind of cover the gap there that you have, which is very minuscule. Like you said, I mean, it's just flirting with it. Then
Yeah,
I find it value. Plus, I mean, there's always somebody that comes out and yeah, like I like drafting these rookie receivers, because you get them really cheap and they have the biggest chance of giving you the highest um reward for your value, at where you got them, and then where
yeah,
they're going to finish. Like you said, like Alave, like he finished at the top 25, but he was probably getting drafted like in the sixth, seventh, eighth round.
yeah. Probably a little bit. Yeah, probably a little bit later. So yeah, it's not a bad return on investment, but I do think that people kind of have a misconception that rookie receivers have a bunch of upside in redraft, and that's really not the case because Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase are kind of outliers, but a great year for a rookie. And like we said, Garrett Wilson had a great year for a rookie. He was a wide receiver 21 last year with 1,103 yards and 4 touchdowns. So you know I don't know if Jordan Addison is going to get over 1,000 yards and 5 touchdowns this year.
Right.
So I know when you draft, you want to say, "Oh man, we hadn't seen this guy play. He has unlimited upside."
Well,
But
I wouldn't say unlimited, but it's unknown, and that's the thing that makes him good. But you can't pick, like I wouldn't say isn't Tank Dell a receiver for Houston?
yeah,
Yeah, so I wouldn't say go out and pick Tank Dell because he's a fucking rookie. They have to be on a good team and in a good situation. Like for instance, Addison, you know, he's Jefferson's going to be pulling the major coverage. He's got a good quarterback. Thielen's not there. He's got all the opportunity to be great. And I'm not saying that they have tremendous upside, but what it is they have tremendous value because they could do break into that up tier, and then you get the biggest bang for your buck. You know what I mean? So
yeah. I mean, I
especially
agree. I agree with you. I definitely agree with you that their draft cost is not. You're not wasting a pick on them. To see what
right,
they got, especially
yeah.
a first
And if they
round
don't do good,
NFL
then you're like,
draft
well,
pick.
I got them later, anyways. But I definitely wouldn't recommend getting a rookie as your, wide receiver too. But
That's what you're gonna end up doing. But I got 2 minutes to pick on this one. So far, I got McCaffrey, Waddle, Olave, Miles Sanders, and Dobbins. But I said I'd take Trevor Lawrence in the fifth. He fell to me in the sixth. So
well, that's good value there.
So Trevor Lawrence is my pick. Easy pickings. I don't know if he could fall in some drafts to the 6th round. It really just depends on your league. The Yahoo league we're in, quarterbacks usually wait a little while to go. They don't go real fast. But I've been talking to Brad and Dad and everybody, and I automatically know that in the first 2 rounds that Mahomes, Josh Allen, and Hurts are all going to be gone. But after that, I have no idea. I don't know what's going to happen after that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's and like that's the biggest thing, people come up with these draft strategies and the best draft strategy is to have no strategy and to go to like you want to have a strategy per se, like the people
You want
that
to have multiple strategies.
you want to have tiers, you want to have player tiers, but you can't go in saying I'm going to get this guy at this place, because like you said, I mean if fucking tight ends are flying off the board, well, that's not a good example. But yeah, if quarterbacks are flying off the board, you need to get in there and get one, and you're not risking a pick because everybody else went for a quarterback too, So you kind of have to weigh your pros and cons there and go get your guy. If there's a guy you fucking want, don't worry about what they say he's got to get picked. Like pick him where you want him. Like if you want to secure it, secure it.
Yeah, I mean, definitely go out there and get your guy. But I do disagree with if everybody's drafting quarterbacks. That doesn't necessarily mean you need to jump in.
That's true.
And get one. That might mean that better players are going to fall to you, and that you can. If more teams have quarterbacks, like I've been in multiple drafts where I picked late round quarterback, but I seen that like just say in this draft, I'm sitting in the 11th round and I wanted Kirk Cousins, and every other team in the league has a quarterback.
Right.
That means I might could go. I could probably just get 2 more free rounds and get Kirk Cousins in the 13th because I know that nobody in that league is going to pick him because they already got one.
Yeah, they already got
And a lot of in the redraft leagues, what I like to do personally is if I were to go quarterback, like for you, you got Justin Fields, who's a Russian quarterback who, could get injured, a little easier than the pocket passers because he's going to be out there running. So, I mean, if I were you, them kind of quarterbacks is where I would like to sure one up later. So, maybe in like the 13th round or something.
People like Derek Carr are, not even getting drafted. So,
I mean, you can get Geno Smith in the 13th round and just have a little safety net right there.
Yeah, and the players that you're drafting down there anyways are, deep sleepers, and it's better to secure, your depth, your backup, and
that's what's crazy about me are just some of the stuff I hear on the podcast. It's like on other podcasts where they'll say, "Oh, he's a little risky," like Lamar Jackson. He's risky. He's been hurt the last couple of years. Okay, fine, but the upside is tremendous. Take him. You're not going to win your league with safe players over and over again. So get your quarterback. Maybe you got a little risk, and then later on, like we said, in the 12th, 13th round, draft Geno Smith or Jared Goff, Daniel Jones. Something like that, and you're not really wasting a pick in the 13th round, like you said.
No, not at all. Yeah,
those are mostly sleepers at that point, anyway.
Yep.
All right. Well, I'm here. Got Trevor Lawrence. We're in the 7th round now. Rachaad White just went before me. Michael Pittman, who I wasn't. Shoot, I don't know if I draft Michael Pittman until probably the 11th round. Some people, if you're an Anthony Richardson lover, that's good. That's all good. But, all right, I'm going to look at my rankings real quick because I can really go any direction here. I got my quarterback. I don't have a tight end yet.
Well, let me intercede while you're looking. The team that's picking right after you, they started, and they don't have a running back yet. They started with Travis Kelce, got Garrett Wilson, Jalen Hurts in the 3rd, then Judy, Christian Watson, and Christian Kirk. So I'm very interested to see I I feel like they have to get a running back here. So
But it doesn't matter though at this point. Like they done missed all the good ones. I mean, I'm looking at
yep,
the players that they're looking at is Javonte Williams, who we don't know. He's
yep,
an unknown right now. Pacheco, he's got question marks. James Cook, question marks. Like that's
yep,
what I was saying.
yep.
He took a tight end and a quarterback early, and now look
And I
where
feel
he's
like
up.
if it, I feel like his best running back pairing, if I was to say, so he's coming up next. Say, yeah, I feel like his best running back pairing, the best thing you could do right now, maybe Pacheco, but the people, somebody with secure jobs, I would say probably Brian Robinson and Khalil Herbert.
Yeah,
Which
really.
wouldn't be terrible. They could be good, but you're gonna the position battle. You're gonna lose.
Every
50%
week.
of the time, probably. At least. So
Yeah.
it's sketchy doing that. Whereas I feel like, see, I started for running backs. You know what I mean? And I don't feel like I'm as far behind the eight ball. You know what I mean?
I mean, if you do that in any given week, Travis Kelce is going to have to outscore that other tight end by 20 points. Jalen
Right.
Hurts is going to have to outscore. See, I got Trevor Lawrence in the sixth. He got, Jalen Hurts in the third. Jalen Hurts is going to have to beat him on a weekly basis by 15 points,
Right.
just to get the leg
Yeah.
up. But, all right. So, right here, I'm taking my guy that I've been, just getting higher and higher on as the weeks go. And I've gotten every position. I could use another receiver here, and I really like Deontay Johnson. I really like Mike Evans. We got Pickens, Addison here, but there's a tier break for tight ends, and I really like Darren Waller. So he's the only tight end left that I can see. You got Evan Ingram, Freiermuth, and Joku. Darren Waller's probably the number one target on his offense. So,
Probably.
so I'm gonna take Darren Waller here because I'm unsure about these other tight ends and what their volume's going to be like. So that's where I'm headed.
Okay. And I do like Darren Waller as a talent and an athlete. And but just one of my things that I really don't like is just pass catchers on new offenses. But when it comes to tight ends, like I feel like it's easier to transition. You're going out being the safety blanket, and Darren Waller's a veteran in this league, so it's not a terrible pick there. I don't want any shares of Darren Waller this year, but it's definitely not a bad pick there. So I'm at the 7-12. I got two picks bike to bike. So right here, I'm obviously gonna go for a receiver.
And they're
Um,
gone. George Pickens is
not
gone. Addison is gone.
they're not gone. I still
They're
have
gone.
great choices here. I mean, I got Traylon Burks, um,
You got
Brandon
Traylon
Cooks.
Burks.
Brandon Cooks. I think Traylon Burks is going to be good. As a wide receiver too. You know, uh, but it looks like he got injured yesterday. So
He stays injured, man.
I know, but really, the person I'm targeting right here is going to be
You
Brandon Cooks.
you like Traylon Burks better than Dotson?
So that I was gonna bring up Dotson, and I I'm starting to pay
That
a
was
little bit
my
more
pick.
attention. I'm starting to pay a little bit more attention to him, because he did have put up some good numbers in some good games, but I'm still a little skeptical about the quarterback there. Sam Howell, not sure, but he showed flashes of greatness, and but I chose Brandon Cooks over him. Um, just because Brandon Cook is, time and time again showed it. And I like to have the wide receiver twos with wide receiver one upside, and also wide receiver twos with a wide receiver, an elite wide receiver on the other side, because they tend to pull the pressure, and open it up a little more. And they also get, your best cornerbacks like Jalen Ramsey and D Slay and all these guys, So I tend to like to have, the wide receiver twos anyways on certain offenses. And I think Brandon Cooks is a good value pick down here. I got him at, like the 70, 71. And but so I got Brandon Cooks, and now I got a choice to make. I could either go another receiver here and still get Jahan Dotson, and you know he
You
could
need
he could be
you need
good
an
here.
upside. You need an upside swing at receiver here. I don't think. I mean, your two receivers are Keenan Allen, Brandon Cooks. I mean, I like both of them. Don't get me wrong, but they're not really the kind of guys that are gonna win you your leagues. They're just gonna keep it
Well,
safe.
I
I think
didn't,
you need to take some upside here. If you do go receiver.
and see that's the debate because this is the tier where I have to get uh tight end right here if I don't want to go somebody like Laporta or Kincaid, just at the end because you got Fryermuth and Njoku. Cole Kmet's still down there, which isn't a terrible pick if you just go zero tight end and get him at the end. But I kind of want to just wait off and because I feel like there's no way Sam Laporta can't do good. You know what I mean? So I feel it in my
He's
gut.
not. He's not gonna do good.
Well, this is my gut feeling on that. So I'm gonna wait on tight end. And like you said, I mean, shoot for somebody with some pretty good upside there, and also kind of handcuff pick. I'm gonna go with Quentin Johnson because he's a rookie with on a good offense with a great quarterback, and I already got Keenan Allen, so it kind of is a handcuff pick there. And Mike Williams is always hurt, so there's a really good chance that he has not great, but I mean I think he could have a good season. Um, so yeah, that's my thoughts on that. And I feel happy with my team. I mean, I don't feel like I like having Keenan Allen, Brandon Cooks. I feel like that's a good starting lineup. But the only reason I feel that way is because I got Nick Chubb and Derrick Henry. You know,
And
off the rip.
Kamara and James. Don't forget Kamara. And,
I know.
I mean, yeah, you picked them back to back, but I put Connor over. But having Kamara as your fourth running back and
Yeah,
waiting 3 weeks, I mean, you can hold off for a minute and just start Chubb, Henry, Connor. You
yeah,
know, and that'll be fine for
yeah. I feel like
sure.
that'll carry me until I find a receiver or one of my receivers breaks out. And if nothing else, there's a really good chance I'll be able to trade one of those running backs to get a better receiver. And
Yeah,
that's what I put a lot of thought into that too. I feel like it's easier to trade running backs up for receivers than receivers for running backs because there's just very few, good running backs, and
and they get hurt. They
and they
get
get
hurt
hurt.
more often.
Yeah,
They do get hurt more often. But I told you Tua would be here in the eighth. I mean, I'm not taking him because I got
you
Trevor
did say
Lawrence,
that.
but he's there. We're at the 8-10 right now, and he's there.
That's such a good.
Um, that's such a good value, man. Such a good value.
Yep.
Um, I mean, Deshaun and Dak went in the eighth in this mock, so I like them guys too at that value.
Yeah.
Um,
Sure.
not super high on Watson or Prescott that much, but you know that's good value for sure.
Yep. Yep. I agree. I
All
agree.
right.
And go ahead.
Well, so here, looking at a couple players, I can really go any direction I want. I got 3 running backs, 2 receivers, quarterback, tight end. There's a couple running backs that I like, but I think there's 4 running backs that I like, and there's only 4 picks till it gets back to me. So I think I'm going to end up with one of them anyway. I'm not high on Treylon Burks at all. I'm going to skip over him. Kadarius Toney, you can miss me with that shit. Um,
Yep.
right here, I'm going to go Zay Flowers to get.
Yeah.
I like Michael Thomas, I really do, but I have Chris
Right.
Olave, so I'm not going to
Right.
draft
Right.
Chris Olave and Michael Thomas. So I like Zay Flowers, just like I was explaining with you on your pick. Like, it's time for some upside shots. It's time
Yeah,
for some rookies. So I'm gonna go Zay Flowers here,
there's still a
and
lot of safe picks left down there. I mean, there's still some safe receiver picks left.
yep. And my plan is, I told you I like 4 running backs. It's really 3. I like Antonio Gibson, Brian Robinson, and Khalil Herbert, and I'm hoping that they're going.
You
One of
can't
them is
like
going to make it
Antonio
back.
Gibson and Brian Robinson. You can't like both of
I can
them.
like both of them.
No, you
They
can't.
have they play different roles. So Gibson went, and Brian Robinson did not go. So that's going to be Brian Robinson will be my 4th running back to pair with McCaffrey, Miles Sanders, and J.K. Dobbins.
Yep.
Man, I'm really liking this team.
Yeah, that's a solid team you got going on. And yeah, I'm definitely not mad at that at all. Mine I feel like is a little bit more on the risky side, but it's a strategy that I've kind of used, before, and I never really come out with, 4 RB1s, or at least 2 RB1s and 2 RB2s and feel upset about it. So I like what I got going on. I'm gonna go recap it. I got Chubb in the first, Henry in the second, Keenan Allen number 3, Fields, Kamara, Connor, and then I just drafted Brandon Cooks and Quentin Johnson in 7th and 8th round. So now 9th round,
You're just gonna get you
Christian
some
Kirk just
active
went,
receivers.
Khalil, Anthony Richardson. Yeah. So at this point, my running backs are set for a little bit. Anyways, I'll probably grab
One more.
one more, um, which I might do here because looking down, I don't know. I don't know. Let's see what we got a receiver right here.
I mean,
So
you could take Bateman here, and I mean he still could be the number 1 in that offense. I mean, it's not a bad bet.
no, it's not a bad bet, but well, I do have Nick Chubb. I was gonna say I really like Elijah Moore right here.
Yeah, I do too. But I got to ask you a question about you. You think Russell Wilson's going to have a bounce back, right?
I do.
Why not take Cortland Sutton right here?
Yeah, and that's yeah, and he was my other receiver that I was saying is kind of a safety receiver. I think he would be. He's not gonna win you your league by any means, I don't think. But especially with Judy on the other side, I think he's a good guy to get you, you know, 9,
I don't. Yeah,
69. Yeah, like
you might.
about 9 average. And then some games maybe get you 16, 20. Um, so I like him there. And I think it's, when I think Denver and when I think Cleveland, choosing between Sutton and Moore. So I go to Cleveland and I think about the offensive line. They have the better offensive line other than Denver. I think when it comes to
Deshaun's going to
quarterback,
be better.
I think when it comes to quarterback, that's pretty much even for me. Um, and then it's going to come down to just history and over the years. I think Cortland Sutton. I feel like this is. I feel like this is going to be. Like I said, I mean, I feel a bounce back coming with Russ and Cortland Sutton really hasn't been great, honestly, in fantasy football. Um, but neither has Elijah Moore. So,
Well,
um,
Elijah Moore is younger, and he has a new team, and there's just
yeah,
untapped like potential. I guess you
right.
could say with him, like you don't really know, but I mean, people are going to think you're crazy for saying that Deshaun Watson and Russell Wilson are equal this year. But I mean, if Matt was here, he would be raising hell. But Matt's not fucking here,
Nope.
so
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I feel like
I,
they got about the same. I feel like they're the same type of quarterback, and they. I feel like
They could have the same type of production this year. I could see it.
but
Russ could
I
still
think
suck.
I'm gonna go with yeah. Well, so could Deshaun Watson.
Very true. You know, one thing about Deshaun Watson that don't get mentioned a lot when you're picking these quarterbacks, and this is just quarterbacks in general, not just Deshaun Watson, is, you know, when it gets fantasy playoff time, that's in the dead winter in Cleveland. You
Yeah.
know, and not just in winter, but, you know, not just in playoff time, but week 13, week 12. It's cold as shit. The wind's blowing. You know, there was a couple Cleveland games I watched last year where and Deshaun Watson, the winds were blowing 30 miles an hour.
Oh
And,
yeah.
you know, that's something that people need to think about too when they're drafting their quarterbacks. Is like, do these players play in a dome? Like,
Right.
if you're looking at a guy that you're back and forth between, like, you know, if you like Tua and you like Deshaun Watson the same amount, why not just go Tua? Well, I
Right.
mean, he has
Because of
that might not
the
be the
element
best.
of that. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
that
get
might
what
not
you're
be the
saying.
best example because Tua's injury
No,
has
it's a
injury problems, but you know what I'm trying to get at.
yeah, I know what you're getting at. It is a good example because they're in totally different climates, and yeah, you do want to pick people that are like for instance, going back to the Cortland Sutton and Elijah Moore, like Russell Wilson, they play in Mile High, half the year or whatever, and the ball flies further, whereas like you said in Cleveland, it gets cold and it gets bitter and they like to run the ball, when it's like that, and so that's another tiebreaker, and it's uh but through it all, I really want to go Elijah Moore here. I really
All
do. I want to go Elijah Moore here.
right, you got another pick.
And on my next pick, um I'm gonna get the pairing the match made in hell with old Cole commit
Cole
to the
Kmet with Justin
commit to
Fields.
the
Stack.
Fields commit stack.
What a stack! Hadn't heard that stack before.
What a stack, baby.
What a stack! All right, we're here in the 10th round. Rashad Bateman went, Damian Harris, Schultz, Cortland Sutton, Devon Achane, who I like in the 10th round.
Yeah.
Dalvin Cook didn't go there, so happy about that. This is why you draft running backs early, fellas. We're looking at Elijah Mitchell. We're looking at handcuffs. Elijah Mitchell,
Mm-hmm.
Tyler Algier, Mostert, Singletary, Foreman, Bigsby, blah blah blah. Zeke. Um, Zeke
Yeah.
really wouldn't be a bad pick right here. Truthfully.
Truthfully,
With
it
the
wouldn't.
um,
He's the highest talent out of everybody left. I mean, Elijah Mitchell's really good, but I don't think
yeah.
he's gonna have the production Zeke is, which isn't saying much, but still.
But when you're in the 10th round, though, I got a little piece of advice for anybody new drafting or just drafting any year is this is not the time of the draft where you tell yourself, "Oh, I need this. Like I need a receiver. I need a running back." This is
Yeah,
not
true.
the time. You should have done figured that shit out. Is what I'm trying to
Yeah,
say. Like these last few rounds is where, like, say you went
take
for 3 running backs straight. If you go 3 running backs straight like that,
yeah,
you need to go ahead and get you some receivers there in the 4th, 5th round or something like that. You don't
yeah,
want to come down here to the 10th round and say, "Oh, I need a running back, so I'm gonna pass on you know a player that has some upside and just get Tyler Algier."
yeah,
So my
yeah.
my,
If
my
you go
team's
zero
pretty balanced.
RB, it's hard to go zero RB up to the 10th round. Like it really behooves you to get a running back at least by like the 5th round.
Oh yeah, and you can go the hero RB route too, but. I mean,
Yep.
right here, I'm just trying to take players. Fuck the ADP at this point. We're in the 10th round.
Oh yeah, dude. ADP is long out the door at this round.
You know, my team's pretty balanced. I got 3 receivers, 4 running backs. Like I said, I don't really have a need, but receivers just seem to be, there's just more of them. There's more to choose from at this point. So I'm going to take my shot here. And I know you ain't going to like it, but I'm going to take Sky Moore. I feel like in the 10th round, if I miss on that pick completely, whatever. It's
Yeah,
the 10th round. But if he starts for Kansas City and, he ends up being good, I mean,
right.
what did I miss?
Yeah.
I might have
He's
hit
got the best
something.
quarterback. They're going to be winning games, so there's going to be touchdown opportunities. So yeah, that's not a bad pick, and I think he's pretty quick too, isn't he?
Oh yeah, he's more of a slot guy, but which they don't really have. I mean, that's the reason that I like him is Juju is gone, and Juju had some decent weeks last year. He wasn't terrible for your fantasy team, and Juju finishes wide receiver 27 last year. So
Wow.
if Sky Moore can take that slot role, and Juju only had 3 touchdowns on the year too, so you can't say he scored a lot. So I'm just hoping, Kadarius Toney's always injured. I
Yeah.
like Rashee Rice. I'd like to take that shot, but a couple things that came out of Kansas City was Andy Reid was talking about Sky Moore last year, and he just pretty much said that rookie wide receivers don't really pick up this offense that easy, and
Huh.
so that puts Rashee Rice into that category. And I like second-year receivers, even
Right.
that's been
Yeah,
in
I
a
do
great
too.
offense with a great head coach, and he's been running with the ones in training camp and preseason. So he looks like he's going to at least be in the top 3 receivers this year. So
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll take
No,
a
I,
shot
I
on him.
feel you on that. I feel you on that. And he's in on a good offense. And I mean, Sky Moore, second year player, is getting picked 10th round. And George Pickens, second year player, going up in the 7th, and it could be a high value pick. But like you said, you got him so late that if he does bust, it doesn't really matter,
Yeah,
you know.
it doesn't
But
matter, but you want to take guys here that is almost like
yeah,
this late in the draft. You kind of want to take guys that Sky Moore's
yeah,
going
you
to be on
don't
the
want to
bench.
take Adam Thielen or Jacoby Myers or anybody like that. You
Lazard.
want to go with like your Romeo Dobbs or your Zay Jones, even Nico Collins. You know what I mean? Like somebody that could
Yeah,
fucking blow up.
and that's my pick here is Romeo Dobbs, and here in the 11th,
I had a
you-
good feeling.
and these guys, maybe not Romeo Dobbs, but Sky Moore, they're going to be sitting on my bench, and if they
Yeah,
suck the first 2 weeks, you can just drop them. You ain't got to hold on to them forever. Either
right.
they hit or they don't. These are guys that you can tell kind of right away. Like if Sky Moore, I draft him in the 10th round, and I watch the Kansas City game, and he's out there and he gets 70% of the snaps. I'm like, hell yeah. You know, don't even matter what the stats are that first game. If he gets 70% of the snaps and 7 targets that first
Yeah,
game, I'm holding on to him.
yeah. The production's there. They want to use them, and it's if you're getting that much playing time, you can't help but get better, and eventually going to start putting up some points.
And if he plays 20% of the snaps and has 0 targets, then you just drop him and find somebody on
Gotta
the waiver
go.
wire.
That's right.
Yeah, you don't want to draft these. I don't know. I just don't like drafting the safe. Like I mean, Jacoby Myers is here. He could fill a void on bye weeks. At
Right.
some point in time, which that's not a bad deal either. But I'm gonna take Romeo
Already
Dobbs.
got somebody to do that.
Yep, and I'm gonna take Romeo Dobbs here, and then
That's a
maybe
good.
in the next round I'll get some safe ass or maybe some kind of handcuff with some upside type running back or something like that. But there's still good picks down here, really. I mean,
there's not terrible picks, and this is where you really are gonna find your
people
your
that'll
high.
help win. Yeah, these
Yeah,
players probably aren't going to win your league, but they will definitely help win you some weeks. Like,
right. Yeah, they can get you through, and there have been players that I picked way down that ended up being great. Not very often, but it's not out of the question. I mean, this is fucking fantasy football. So,
shoot, me and you were talking earlier about how really the rounds that you win your league is like rounds 3 to 6. When you
say that
draft,
again.
like
Sorry, I was reading. What were you saying?
I said, me and you were talking earlier about you really win your drafts from rounds like 3 to 6. Like this is where you get your
Yeah,
Josh Jacobs from last year. Say Jahmyr Gibbs blows up, he's going in the third. Travis Etienne's going in the fourth. Mixon, Aaron Jones. Like these are the guys. If you can hit Calvin Ridley, I mean, as much as I've talked shit, like he could
yeah,
be good. Jerry
he could,
Judy,
yeah.
Amari Cooper. Them are the guys. Like if they just totally blow up and outperform ADP, those are the guys that's going to win you your league.
Yep, yep, for sure. And so my next pick is a little sketchy, but they all are back here. But I feel like this guy is finally getting the chance and hopefully going to stay healthy because I feel like that's been his biggest downfall.
Your Raheem
Um,
Mostert.
yes, and Jeff Wilson just got hurt, so that makes his workload go up. And Devin A. Chain is probably gonna you know end up taking the fucking spot. But I'm down here, like you said, in the 11th round, and he's got 8 years in the league. I don't know. I feel like it's a good pick, dude.
He was
It's
the RB 25 last year.
right,
I
and
know
so I
I
feel
know
like
they brought in A Chain, but I mean, this late you might as well. And this for everybody. Take a shot on one of the Miami running backs this late. It doesn't matter which
yeah,
one, whichever one you believe in, really.
whichever one's left down there, just grab them up.
Yeah,
So
somebody's gonna do something.
yeah, so we got, what round are we in? The 12th. Okay. So we went Raheem Mostert there. So we'll go over here and grab a receiver. And you went with the number one best team in the AFC, best quarterback, number one quarterback. So I'm gonna go with the number two team in the AFC and the number two quarterback with Tyler Boyd. I think that's a good pick
You
down
forgot
here.
about Josh Allen, you whore.
Joe Burrow is better than Josh Allen.
Oh, okay.
Nah, I can't
I
say
mean,
that.
I
I
ain't gonna
can't say
argue
that.
with it. I ain't
I
gonna
can't.
argue much with that in real life. I would rather have. I don't know. This close in fantasy, I'd take Josh Allen, but in real life, you know,
Yeah, I'm
shit.
taking Burrow. Yeah.
I'll take
No,
Burrow.
like you're right. No, you're right. In fantasy, it's Allen all day. But I mean, when it comes to who's receiver, if I'm taking the third receiver on Buffalo or I'm taking the third receiver on Cincinnati, that's an easy pick. And little known fact, Cincinnati is the only trio in I think ever to have in the last 3 years three receiver, like a receiver trio, to all have at least 3,000 yards and so many catches.
Tyler Boyd has his weeks. I mean, he's still a good receiver. He was wide receiver 33 in PPR last year. That's a good flex play.
Yeah,
That's a really good flex play. That's like he's just boring. That's why he's so late. It's
right.
like people just don't want him. But I mean,
Yeah, because
he had weeks last year in full PPR. He put up 20 points, 29 points,
yeah,
12, 10,
and
14, 10.
honestly, Austin, the biggest thing on my mind about picking Tyler Boyd right there, and it kind of sounds, I don't know, bad to say, but it's still a real thing is if one of those guys get injured, he automatically jumps up into a huge role. You know what I mean?
For sure.
Injuries are real, and why not? Play it a little bit. So, that's another thing you got to think about in these late rounds is grabbing these handcuffs and grabbing. If this person goes down, they sit on your bench and they don't do shit. Drop them for fucking whoever is doing something. But
I mean, yeah, and if I'm wrong, I picked Zay Flowers in the 8th round. He could be the 3rd best receiver on that offense with Lamar throwing the ball. Well, you just
yeah,
got the 3rd best receiver with Joe Burrow in the 12th. So, but right here, pretty easy for me. Well, actually, it's not. I got 2 players. I like Darnell Mooney. I always have. But I like Ezekiel Elliott to just be a touchdown vulture all the damn time.
yeah, man, that's what he does best.
Yeah, that is what he does best. They're not going to score as much as Dallas did. So shit, I'm just going to go Ezekiel Elliott right here. I really wanted to go Clyde Edwards-Helaire, to tell you the truth.
Dude, yeah, he's one of them people just.
Yeah, you're avoiding. Darnell Mooney made it back, so I ended up getting Zeke and Mooney here in
There
the
you go.
8th round.
Yeah. All right, so this is coming into the 13th round. Let's see. So right here. Damn, somebody beat me to it.
Let me point something out real quick, Ian.
Good. Good.
All right, so if you're playing defenses in your league and you want to draft, a defense, I would definitely do it late, obviously from like round 14 to 16. But San Fran is a different story. You got a really good defense, probably the best defense in the NFL. And not only that, they play their first 4 weeks are against Pittsburgh, the Rams, the Giants, and Arizona.
Wow. Yeah.
So
Big
you kind of get the double up on that one. Usually you want the defense that's playing bad teams, but this time you get the best defense who is also playing not that great offenses. So
Yep. And so
this might be one year I might reach might not pick them in the 15th. I might pick them in the 14th round.
right. And I have been grabbing them in the 13th or the 14th. But here in this mock draft, somebody took San Francisco at the 13 too. So it kind of ruined my plan because that's who I was going to grab right here. Because like you said, I mean, the players you get 13, 14, 15, 16 round, are not going to give you the points that the San Francisco defense is, or I'm going to get the Eagles defense here because, go Dogs.
And then let me check their early season schedule right quick. So they got New England,
not great, but it's good.
Shit, it is good. They got one bad game in the first 4 weeks.
They got Kansas City in there, I think, somewhere.
No, I'm just talking about first 4 weeks. They got New England.
Oh
Minnesota.
yeah, right.
Minnesota's a good offense, but they can turn the ball over. Then they got Tampa Bay and Washington, and then the Rams.
Yep.
So 4 out of 5 weeks. And I don't think Minnesota's a terrible matchup. Like Kirk Cousins takes a lot of sacks, and he's known to turn the ball over a little bit. So that's a good San Francisco. So on the Cruise Dynasty podcast, San Francisco and the Eagles defense this year.
Yes, sir.
At least to start off with, then do whatever you want after that.
Right. And then I guess I'm gonna go to the next position and not get the best kicker, but finished number 2 last year. But we all love the big old bug eyes on the fucker Tucker.
You got to get old Justin Tucker, don't you? Always.
Well, I usually don't. I usually wait a little longer, but I'm trying to do strategy going for the number 1 guy.
All right. Well, everybody, we're gonna do our sleepers episode and all that good stuff next week. Sleepers, busts, breakouts, all that good stuff. So, just have to hang around and wait a little while for our next episode. But, hopefully this mock draft gave you a little insight of what our sleepers and shit are gonna be. I mean, Ian, we can keep going with this draft. We got we're into kickers and defenses right here.
Yeah, I mean, there's no point in keeping going here. The defensive strategy there. Taking them because me and you, we both, for forever it seems like we're going with the defense streaming. Where you don't pick a defense in the draft, and you stream one every week.
Pick who plays Arizona this year.
Sorry.
Pick who plays Arizona. Pick who plays the Panthers.
Right.
Right.
And it's a grueling process, and
Exactly.
you're always fighting somebody to try to get it, and so I feel like it's one of those things like, why not just get something that you can sit it and forget it? There's 1 week out of the year you got to pick up a defense.
Well, I have noticed, you got the My Playbook app by the Fantasy Pros, and we put in our lineups, and it'll show you where you rank in your league at position. So, you can put in defense, and are you the 12th team? Are you the worst? Or are you the first? And I've done that the last couple of years, and just streaming defenses over and over, I've realized that I'm usually in the middle, 5, 6, 4, something like that, where I'm not the best, but I'm not the worst. So, I actually live with that, and it's just fun. It's just fun to me, just going out there every week, knowing you got to pick up a defense.
Yeah, no, it is, but like I said, I mean, me and you are always fighting for it, and you don't always get it, but sometimes you do land with a good one that you can keep on. But I just feel like if you can snag the 49ers early on, I mean, why not? I mean, don't really see why not.
With that schedule too.
Yeah, it's a good schedule. And this was a good video. I feel like, I enjoy coming on here and doing this with you because, this is just what we love. And if y'all want to pay us to talk, we'll take your money. But, we're doing it for the love and for the 5-star ratings and for you to share it. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, MySpace, Tumblr, whatever you got, man. And we're going to keep it real.
Name anymore. Reddit,
Pinterest, Etsy. Come on, we got them all, bro.
It's not Twitter though. It's X.
It's X, dude. That's another story for another day. But that little bird, dude, is big money, and he just I don't. Anyways, but yeah,
X gonna give it to you.
X gonna give it to you.
And, well, I guess we'll just end on that. It's gonna give it to you. So we will see you guys later. We coming up with, like I said earlier, sleepers, busts, breakouts. We got all that shit coming out next week for y'all's fantasy draft. So y'all just keep on listening, and I appreciate everybody for listening. All of our listeners has been with us for a while. We love y'all. Thank y'all. And I guess we will hit y'all up next time. Peace.
Yes, sir. Peace.